already know, Mike Marcasano was scheduled to start today. And he would have loved to have started today on Rocky Marciano night with the similarity in last names. First pitch is a breaking ball, and it misses inside to Jones. 1-0 the count. Marcasano serving the final game of his suspension from the brawl in New Jersey. Ironically, he wasn't even one of the guys involved. Here's the 1-0 pitch. This is outside, 2-0 the count. Just about everybody was, involved in a little pushing and shoving and a little jawing out there. But according to Ed Noddle and according to Mike himself, he wasn't one of the ones in there throwing punches. 2-0 pitch. This is outside, 3-0 the count. But apparently the umpires thought that he was one of the guys. They misidentified him. So he was the one who's taken the fall from, for someone else on the Rox who probably did land a couple of blows. Let's leave it at that.
After the brawl in New Jersey, the Rox and Jackals had to play again at noon the following day. That was a recipe for disaster with that little cooling off period. Fortunately, no more fights. But the Rox did do their best imitation of an Everlast punching bag, getting pummeled 19-5. Ouch. Brockton was without Mel Rosario, who had received an 8-game suspension and a fine for instigating the brawl. Marcasano got a 3-game suspension for doing absolutely nothing. John Hassel got 1 game, and New Jersey's Mika Dworkin and Aaron Myers, 1 game. The really bad part for New Jersey was first baseman Dave Callahan suffered a dislocated shoulder in the brawl and had to be put on the disabled list. I asked manager Ed Noddle about the brawl, and fortunately, I wrote down his response. I don't give a shit. Fighting is no big deal. Guy might get a broken nose or a fat lip, but it's just part of the game. Umpires cause the whole damn thing by not stepping in early. They just let it get worse. Ed, if fighting is a part of the game, it is simply because the penalties for fighting are not nearly severe enough. I mean, to be fair, Mel's suspension should have at least equaled the amount of time that Callahan missed from getting hurt in the brawl. And Aaron Myers, the Jackals pitcher who threw the first punch and the first kick, should have gotten way more than 1 game. The league blew it. The umpires did do a pathetic job in that series. Ed was right. They did let things get out of hand. However, so did the managers. Ed and George Samus both deserve some responsibility here. They're supposed to be the adults in the room in control of their teams. Mel Rosario was out of control. It cost him 8 games and possibly a reserve spot on the All-Star team. Remember when we were asking why in the world Mel was not in the big leagues or at least in AAA? Well, maybe we have our answer. Mel's a great guy. Like him a lot. Also owe him big time for something that we'll talk about later in the series. But I also saw him lose his temper on several occasions. Did his temper hurt his career? Quite possibly. So the Rox limped back to Brockton, having lost 6 of their first 7 games in the second half. Did the fans abandon them? More than 3,300 fans were on hand to greet their return to Campanelli Stadium, and those that did were treated to the most exciting Rox game of the year.
1-1 the count to Bustos. Saul, the team leader in home runs, with 6, also leading the team in runs batted in, 34. Here's the 1-1 offering from Cagle. Swung on, driven high in the air to center field. The right fielder, Purnell, looks up, and the yard not big enough to hold that one. Saul Bustos with a home run. The Rox lead it 1-0. Trevor Hall hitting .244, 2 homers, and 11 runs batted in. He was one of the few bright spots in yesterday's forgettable game against New Jersey. Line drive hit well, right field. Going back is Purnell. That ball gets out of here in a hurry. Home run, Trevor Hall. The Brockton Rox have taken a 2-0 lead. Now the fans who came out hopefully brought jackets with them because it has cooled off quite a bit tonight. It's dry now. I mean, the rain has stopped falling. We've got a nice night for baseball. Just a little on the cool side. And there is a good-sized crowd here, the ones who braved the rain. And tip of the hat to the diehards who are out here having fun. Baker thought he had strike three, and so did a lot of the umpires in the stands. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Baker kicks and delivers. Off-speed pitch, and he gets Jones. Happy birthday, Brian. Baker strikes out the side. I don't know if these two teams could take another extra inning game. They are pretty evenly matched, you have to say that. The only problem with intentionally walking Hutchins is if you retire Bush on anything besides a double play, you then have to deal with Rafael Alvarez. Not sure I like that. 1-1 pitch. Ground ball third base. This could be 2. Dahlberg throws to second for 1. The relay to first, and they got exactly that. What a manager, that Ed Noddle. Ron Bush hits into the 5-4-3 double play. Ed couldn't have scripted that one any better, but the Pioneers do the damage. 2 runs across. We go to the bottom of the 8th. It's Elmira 2 and Brockton 2. So unofficially, the line on Baker, 9 innings, 5 hits, 2 walks, 10 strikeouts, 2 runs, both of them earned. And for all of his effort, he winds up with a no decision. That is unfortunate. Saul Bustos leading things off for the Rox here in the bottom of the 10th inning. He is 2 for 3 with a single and a home run. First pitch from Cagle. Swung on, driven into right center field. Hutchins, the center fielder, can't catch that one because it's over the fence. A home run for Saul Bustos, and the Rox win 3-2. The Rox finally find a way to keep Hutchins from catching the ball. You hit it over the fence. Bustos with his second home run of the game, and it's a game winner. The Rox win 3-2 in 10 innings.
The next night, a record crowd of 4,834 would turn out at Campanelli Stadium for Rocky Marciano Night. Now, Rocky was born in Brockton, and the fans received a really cool Rocky Marciano bobblehead. But they would not be treated to a win. Brockton would lose 2 of its next 3 games to Elmira and then lose 2 out of 3 to New Jersey. The Rox went 3-5 during Mel Rosario's suspension, but you certainly couldn't blame Mel's seldom-used backup catcher Mike Landry. You know, at 5'7", the 22-year-old Landry lacked the size of your prototypical catcher, but he sure did not lack in desire, and his knowledge of the game. Wow, that made him my personal choice as most likely amongst this group to be a future Rox coach or manager.
And it brings up Mike Landry. Landry hitting .333 this season. No homers, 3 runs batted in. He's only had 27 at-bats, but this week Mike's been getting some work. Mel Rosario out, serving that suspension. First offering from Fish. His swung on, hit pretty well to right field. Going back is Travis Bailey. Forget about it. Mike Landry, first home run of the season, and the Rox have a 3-0 lead. Not a big guy, but that was a big swing, and the ball deposited over the right field fence. Mike Landry's first homer of the year. All his teammates waiting for him as he comes back into the dugout. Getting pounded on his helmet right now. And the Rox up 3-0. Mike Landry with a 2-run homer. The first pitch he saw from Steve Fish. Wow. Showing bunt is Conway. Throw down to first base by Landry, and they got him. Mike Landry guns a strike down to first base. Lipari a little too far off of the bag. And Landry does his best Mel Rosario impersonation. Fires a strike down to first base and picks off Lipari. Good job by Mike Landry.
The Rox were just about ready to hit the road for another swing through New York and Pennsylvania, but first, I would get a surprise visit in the broadcast booth from the second most famous member of the Murray clan. Be sure to click the subscribe button to follow my wild and wacky journey with the Brockton Rox because more episodes are on the way. Thanks for watching.